Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the story by military veterans. Get yourself ready. It's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast giving a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we have Marine veteran James Corona. All right. So we're back here on the podcast, and we got Marine veteran James Corona. James, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you called me out for this.
How long total? It was 7 months, something like that. 5, 6-ish.
Yeah, you know what? 7. Wow, you know what? Yeah, it's pretty close to 7 because when we got back, and I remember sitting off the coast of Camp Pendleton, it was July 2nd. No,
Okay.
It was July 1st. We were sitting off the coast on July 1st. That happened to be my ex-wife's birthday. So that's
okay.
I remember that. So I know we were back on the July 1st, and I had to call her from the coast. I'm like, I can see you, but I can't come see you. So we got back, and that was kind of cool, because you got to think we just got back right before the 4th of July.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so that was kind of a cool thing. They had the parade and everything, so we were kind of like the first people to come back from the war, and it was kind of neat. So
now, did you march in the parade in Oceanside?
I didn't personally.
Okay.
I wasn't ready for it. I was still kind of shooken up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to. It was. I'm not the type that would go around bragging about things that I did. We did some really inhuman things, and so our minds, we're kids. Our minds were still fresh.
Yeah.
Developed it. I didn't want to do it, but I went to it. I got to watch. They had a sister city celebration there for Samoans there in Oceanside.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a pretty cool weekend. But my mom came out to see me, and that one got me good.
Yeah.
Dang old lady. I don't cry. My eyeballs sweat. She made my eyeballs.
Yeah, she made them sweat a lot.
Yeah. We got off the LCAC. We got on the boat or the buses. They took us back to Las Pogas, and I was the first person on the bus. And I think they did that on purpose, because when I got off the bus, the cameras were, okay, that's weird.
Oh, yeah.
They on me. And I see my wife, and I'm all happy, got my baby, and they're still looking at me. And I'm like, what's up, guys? Welcome home. We got a surprise for you. I was like, what? And I turned around, my mom's standing right there, and I'm like, what? What are you doing here? Like, holy cow, Mom, you came from Texas? She went from Texas to California to come see me come home.
That's cool, man.
Had the waterworks going on that one.
Oh, no, your eyes were sweating. Don't worry. I got you.
So that was a good return. But we spent January to July.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't. That whole initial war, man, it was not really well thought out, I guess, because we sat in Aldawania, Camp Diarrhea.
Yeah.
We sat there for 3 weeks, dude. 3 weeks waiting for us to hitch a ride. Our unit, the CO, the colonel, everybody, they're calling, they're making phone calls here. What ships are coming in? What ships are going out? What ship can we jump in? And finally, there was a ship called the Comstock, which was on its, not Comstock, what am I saying? Anchorage. It was on its last voyage. It was getting
nice.
As soon as it got back. So that's the ship we had to take back. Man, I'm
luxury.
Oh, yeah. Complete. Yeah, just full of it. So we caught a ride on that boat, and we got back. So it got us back, so I can't complain. But yeah, as soon as we got back, we had to send our color guard to San Diego to go to retire it.
Wow, that's wild. So at this point, then, what year was that? 2000 what?
3.
So 03 comes around. Now, do you stay with the unit? Because after the last thing you came back, you stayed with the unit. This time you stay with the unit again, or did you go somewhere else?
Remember what happened? Stop loss.
Yeah.
The only way that you could do anything was you can either go to war and die, or stay in the Marine Corps and die. I'm like, oh crap. Well, I guess I'll just go to war then. It was either go to war or go on deployment. The deployment was going to war.
Yeah,
It was a crappy situation. So they left everybody the way they were, except for us, a few other people. We went back for another 2 months as a truck company. We just drove trucks around. They needed drivers, and I volunteered. So I went back for the third deployment. And
you were there for 2 months with doing that.
Yep, 2 months, and then they sent us right back on the plane.
Oh, wow.
That's when they were getting rid of all the AAVs. And they were just going to do vehicle patrols through Baghdad.
Yeah,
and that's what we did. And we took quite a bit of enemy contact, but the guys that were in the back of the truck did all the work. We just drove.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
that's definitely a big change from the previous deployment, right?
Oh yeah, everything just got slower. It was so weird. I mean, the first war when we would take enemy contact, it was like playing a cheap video game. I think it's playing Duck Hunter on the Nintendo than it was shooting those guys, because they just weren't ready. They weren't ready.
Yeah.
I mean, who else is going to go head on with an LAR with a 20-millimeter cannon on it?
Yeah, that's no joke.
Not too smart.
So you did 2 months.
Yeah.
Say again.
The unit stayed together. Unfortunately for me, I figured things I needed to go. I wanted a break. After all that, the short time I spent in 3 years and 3 deployments, I decided I wanted to go to a different unit out there in Quantico. That was a non-deployable unit, which is an instructor billet at TBS.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I went out there in 2004. Became an instructor out there. Did a lot of things out there. Became a McQuist. Became a MAIT. Got to train officers. I got to actually see what it took to become an officer.
Yeah.
And there,
very cool.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things I forgot is on my first deployment when I got hurt. No, I'm sorry. It was 4th deployment. Way after that. So after Quantico, I went to I was there for a little bit, and then I went to the drill field right after Quantico. And then after that, I went back to 111, but they didn't need me there, so I ended up going to 211 and did a couple deployments with them as well. But I had gotten hurt where we had hit an ambush and our vehicle came to a complete stop. Unfortunately, I didn't, and my face had impacted the Mark 19, which jammed my mandible back into my skull. They didn't they didn't realize how bad it was. They said that they could medevac us, but they were 32 hours behind on medevac.
Wow.
We had one guy, his name was Bersian Saravia. He got bit by a howitzer. So when the cannon recoils, I think back 6 feet. Well, they were having an issue with it and it wasn't firing. So he's like, no, check fire. It's the breach. You got to slap the fire mech. So he goes down there to slap it. And we had this one incompetent guy who left the lanyard in his hand and attached the firing mech. So when Beer Can the firing mech across, he turned around and says, hey, where's my other powder? Pulled the lanyard, and Beer Can is standing directly behind it. He took full force, broke all ribs, everything from his fingertips to his collarbone was completely shattered. He had punctures, and he got thrown 20 feet and hit the back of the 7-ton with his head, so he got a concussion, and he was jacked up. And that's when the 32 hours started. So he had they just kept pumping him full of morphine because we couldn't medevac him.
Holy
crap. And another guy got shot when he was on top of the ammo truck, but it just threw him off. So he literally fell off the top of a 7-ton all the way backwards onto his back on top of a 7-ton.
Holy crap. That's a long ways.
Yeah, man. So
that's like falling off it's at least one story, if not a story and a half.
Yeah, remember there's
if he's on the top.
Boxes. Yeah, he's on the top.
Oh yeah, it's almost 2 stories, man.
Yeah.
If not. Yeah.
No joke.
Wow. That's
So
insane.
we're 32 hours. They said, "You want to get medevac, whatever." And Beer Cam was like, "I feel good."
Yeah.
You're like, "Well, you're on
Yeah.
morphine." The other guy wasn't so
Yeah.
good. He had broke his I think he broke his upper or his femur, or not femur. What is it? The humerus? He broke his
Yeah.
arm, and it was
Okay.
ugly. And anything was you can see the bulge. It didn't break skin, but it broke.
Wow.
He had to hold on to that for 32 hours until they medevaced him.
Now, when you got hit or when you hit the Mark 19 with and you said it was 36 hours before they could get you too.
32 hours before they can get anything
32.
medevac. But I was the only crew serve gunner on our gun that could fire the Mark 19. So I had to make a choice: go home or stay here. And since I wasn't bleeding and I wasn't life threatening, they said I would. It was just fractured a little bit, and they gave me the option to stay, so I stayed.
No kidding.
Yeah, I got the
And
surgery
then,
2007 for it.
but it actually fractured,
Yeah,
like
so
no
I got
joke, fractured.
4 T brackets across the front of my skull with 28 titanium infused screws that cover the front of my face in order to keep it falling
Are
off.
you serious?
Dead serious.
And you stayed and
I just
just
stayed.
kept pushing through it.
Yep. I grew up a country boy. There ain't no such thing.
Kudos to you, man. That's awesome. Whew, I don't know if I could do it.
You'd be
Anything
surprised.
where in this area, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, it sucked. Oh, it was horrible.
I'm sure it did.
Man, they had my mouth wired shut for 6 weeks. I
Oof.
was on a see-through diet, so if I get my food in a clear cup, I had to be able to see through it in order to eat it. So basically, broth, apple juice, and water. I
Oh
went
my
down to
God.
like
And that was for how long?
6 weeks.
All right. Now I got to ask the question. How much weight did you lose in 6 weeks doing just that?
I was 247 pounds, and I lost the weight, and I ended up getting down to 187.
God.
I was wearing a small shirt, and later on, when I got healthy again, I went and tried to get that shirt on again. I was like, "What?" Oh, I was like, if I didn't get a picture, I would never know. Yeah,
Try to
there's
squeeze
no
through.
way. Yeah,
Wow.
I looked like
That's
a
amazing.
lollipop. My head was still swollen, and I had this little bitty frame and just big swollen head. My kids would put grapes in their mouth and be like, "Go, I'm dad."
That's messed up.
Yeah, the kids got to get
Oh,
sense of
wow.
humor. But yeah, I got that fixed, and then and literally after I got it fixed, went to the drill field.
Are you
Of all
serious? Wow.
Yep. I
Okay.
just healed up from it. I still had the braces on, and went to the drill field, got my braces taken off while I was there, and started doing the Bravo
And
Nation
you
stuff.
spent 3 years there. You Bravo Nation, and then also at the swim tank, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it again.
How was that for you? Yeah. How was
It's
that for
fun.
you?
I'm glad you came along because those guys are at the pool or something else. I mean, it was out of control. I took over for Staff Sergeant Nichols, and they were drinking Mai Tais and margaritas on the roof. And I don't know if you ever saw
Oh my God.
there was stuff on the roof. We had their lawn chairs up there, and the
Yeah.
margarita machine.
No kidding.
So
That's
we were out
funny.
of control, man. And next thing you know, they were like, "Hey, we need someone to take." The only person that was senior there was me, and I was like, "I don't want to." And then you showed up. Yes, I don't have to.
Yeah. I think the only reason that they sent me because I wasn't the only gunny swimmer, but I was the junior gunny swimmer because I just got promoted to gunny. So they were like, "You're going," and I was like, "Okay, sounds good."
Yeah,
So ended up, I enjoyed my time. I had a good crew. You were there. Everything was good, and I had a good time. But it was a good time to step away before I got myself in trouble. So
yeah.
it was worth it.
That's when I became I went to the search course and all that for the tower and all that, and started doing the rappelling thing and started going into that later on after I got out. Yeah, instructor battalion was fun. It's the way to look at the drill field a little bit different. It makes you more of a mature person.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Or the whole decompression thing, because people will be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, man, we got this guy coming from the drill field. He's probably gonna be mad. And blah, blah, blah. And we're like, this guy's cool. You sure you weren't a recruiter?
Now, that was your last year there? Was that the swim tank?
That was my last year. Yeah, I left.
Okay.
I went back to the unit.
Yeah. Now that was fantastic then.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I'll never forget, like, if noon would roll around and be like, all right, we ain't got nothing else. You have a nice day. Do whatever you need to do.
Yep.
Going from working, 22, 23 hours a day. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, whatever.
I tell people I work
It's a good
28
time.
hours a day.
28 hours a day. That's impressive.
Yeah, man, that's the way it felt like that.
It did. Yeah, I agree. Now, your whole experience on the drill field, like, would you say it was a positive experience?
So there's a couple ways to look at it. There's three
Yeah.
ways. Career wise, it's a great move, man. It opened up so many doors for me. I was on a fast track. I already knew I wanted to be a master guns, but my injuries caught up and I had to get out. But
Yeah.
I already knew, and having all the stuff that I've been through and all that stuff, the drill field saved me. I had 2 NJPs. I was on the body composition program because I was 187 pounds. I was
Yeah.
underweight, and
Oh my God.
They put me on a body composition program for that, and
No kidding.
gained my weight back from it. But that still goes as a blemish, man.
Yeah.
So while on the drill
You're the
field,
first person I've ever heard go on the program because you didn't weigh enough.
yeah. Well, they were doing it in Quantico. It was another guy there too, tall, lengthy guy, and just skin him.
No kidding.
Yeah, they made him eat
Wow.
repeatedly. Yeah, and obviously I couldn't eat, so I was just sit there all day. I can't eat.
I'd love to.
I was like, "Will you give me a burger?" No, don't give me a burger. I love Honey Nut Cheerios, and I really wanted Honey Nut Cheerios, so I decided to blend it.
No, not good.
It's not the same. Oh my God, it was horrible. I've yet to touch another Honey Nut Cheerio, smell it. I cannot do it. No.
Oh man. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one way to look at it. As far as career wise, it was a great move. It did awesome things for me on the drill field. It opened up. It's about who you know in the Marine Corps. Unfortunately, you can know a lot, but if you don't know anybody, you're not going to get anywhere. Nobody gets anywhere by themselves. You need help. And being on the drill field, I met a lot of good people. And what people don't understand about the Marine Corps and drill instructor duty, the only way to get accepted to go to it, you have to be the top 10% within your unit. And then from your unit, you got to go into the regiment and division, and you have to be within a certain percentage of there. So now you're weeding out everything. So by the time you get to the, drill instructor school, you have templates, but you have the Marine Corps' finest all competing for that position. So you got everybody. And if you can make it through there, the rest of the Marine Corps is going to be a cakewalk. So career-wise, awesome. As far as my time there dealing with other drill instructors who we used to say screw on their covers too tight.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that campaign cover and that belt, that's for the recruits. That's not for us.
Yeah.
We still have courtesies. I had a sergeant that the senior drill instructor walked by me and another gunny, and he goes, "Well, my dad used to say good morning to a senior drill instructor." And I was like, "What? I got this gun." No, dog. Why don't you come over here for a second? And we tore him up pretty bad. And then we got in trouble by Sergeant Major because they said he was a senior. But that was the bad part about being on the drill field.
Yeah.
That part. The mentality, the drill instructor mentality where you had to respect the belt. No, you don't. It's a billet. You don't really, what I mean? So that was the only bad part that I hated. The other part was watching these snot-nosed, long-haired, nose-picking turds show up to MCRD on them yellow footprints, and when they leave, there's these finely tuned, sharp-dressed gentlemen walking around opening doors and yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am.
That
was the rewarding part.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I love it. We had to start major or first sergeant retired, first sergeant green.
Yeah.
Dill dogs, if you ever want to change the Marine Corps, you can try to change it, but it's like swimming uphill Niagara Falls. If you want to swim up, if you want to change Marine Corps, try swimming up Niagara Falls. It's going to be the same thing. But if you really want to do something and you want to put your thumbprint and try to help change, you go to where it begins, the drill field.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's where I'm going to go. And sure enough, man, I got 473 Marines that walk like me, talk like me, act like me, do everything the way I did, the way I presented. I didn't teach them this. I showed them this, and they just went off the way I was. And so that was really rewarding, especially when they come back to you later.
Yeah.
Like, because of you.
Yeah, and it's very it's rewarding. You know, it makes you feel good that you did something worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good feeling for sure.
Yeah, it's something that you can actually see and touch. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I would say
was awesome.
You were talking about you know, drill instructors screwing their hat on too tight, stuff like that, and then not and respecting the belt and all that type of stuff. I was fortunate enough whenever I went back from the swim tank to Fox Company, I came back as a senior, and my first cycle back, I was a senior as a gunny. My my J was a sergeant, and my third hat was a staff sergeant. My fourth hat was a gunny. My fifth hat was a gunny.
Dang.
I had the five hat team. Yeah, but the sergeant was the J. So I pulled everybody in. I was like, look, if the sergeant tells you guys to do something, you're going to do it. And he's not gonna dog you out. He's just gonna say, hey, drill instructor, I need this, and then you guys go do it. And then I was like, same thing. If a gunny tells you, hey, you need to do this, I don't want it. No questions. You say, aye, gunny, and you go do it. and I was like, if you guys respect each other and you do that, we're gonna have a great time. And they did, and we had a fantastic time. So it actually turned out really well.
I had this one gunny. I forgot his name. I think he was from Foxer Hotel, but he was a black guy, tall, lanky guy, and big dude. He barged into my duty hut one day, and I was still a sergeant. No, I was a staff sergeant. And I was a J at the time. And he comes in, he goes straight to parade rest, and I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, but I guess I need some recruits and blah blah blah. And blah, blah. I'm like, hold on, like you need a water here. Matter of fact, gunner sergeant, sit down. I'll get a parade rest. Like I don't play them fucking things. You're a damn gunnery sergeant, man. You earn that shit.
Yeah.
It sucks. That messy.
It was an interesting time, you know, and I don't know if it's like that still, or you know, I think it's gotten better over the years. I'm sure it's cyclic. I'm sure it'll go back. You know, but it is what it is. Made us the people we are today.
You know definitely, for sure, man. I was wild. Remember I told you?
Yeah.
I was the guy, if you had a problem, we took it between the trails. I've been in so many tussles within my Marine Corps career, but at the same time, me and this guy who got bloody lips, black eyes, and we're laughing and joking with each other afterwards, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
You know, So I was very wild. Every time it came up for promotion, I remember for the corporal or lance corporal, they had a promotion board for it, and every single person on that panel, all 9 people, I think Lance Corporal Corona's got an attitude. I think he's always yelling and everything else, but we kind of need that within our ranks. But I recommend him for promotion, and it was the same thing for corporal. It was the same thing for sergeant, and I'm like, y'all are rewarding me for being an a-hole. Okay, so what do you think I did? It amplified it. I mean, it got bad. And when I got to the drill field, we started to have strings.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. You got that SLP and you got to abide by it strictly. And that's what kind of mellowed me out. Believe it or not, I went to the drill field.
No kidding.
Mellowed out.
You were the opposite of most people. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. I will say, whenever I showed up, you were talking about cream of the crop, the top 10% and all that stuff. So I was a superstar, and I showed up to DI school, and I'm the turd. And I'm like, I've never been the turd before. This is crazy. Yeah. Like, it was difficult for me at first. You know, those first couple of cycles was very tough for me. It's just getting in the mentality for me. It was hard. So
I ran everywhere I went. And honestly, man, that was the only thing they even cared about. They didn't give a crap. I mean, I yelled a lot, but they just liked the fact that I would run. Being a big boy like I am, to be able to move, my fastest 3 miles is 17:10. And I did it when I was on the drill field or DI school.
Yeah.
And I was at 200 and 30 something pounds.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
Loftus
can.
was mad.
Yeah.
I was the only 300 PFT out of my class.
Oh,
But we did have the record though out of DI school.
that's funny.
260 something, I think it was. The
Oh,
average
no
PFT
kidding.
score. Yeah, we got the highest PFT average in at DI school.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah. But we only have one 300 PFT, me.
Wow. Well, good for you, man.
Yeah.
I never saw 300, not one time.
No, yeah. I remember
No.
this in De Leon. They were mad. They're like, how's a fat ass like you run? That's impossible. You can't be doing that. You're fat. You're so faster than you.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, hey, after drill field, where did you end up going?
Went to 211 Echo Battery.
Okay.
That was probably the saddest time that I've ever been in the Marine Corps. We
Okay.
lost about 5 people there.
Oh, wow.
Staff Sergeant Vincent Bell, David Rose, Corporal Lowry, Fields. I forgot the other guy. Those 4. Oh, Captain Sashir, Robert Sashir. Yeah, we lost quite a bit of people, and it sucked.
Yeah.
But
And that was all on deployment
yeah,
in Iraq,
yep. Oh no, Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Okay.
They had already stopped doing. By that point, it was already 2011, 10ish, something like that.
Yeah.
And Iraq was already said and done. So it
Okay.
was just all Afghanistan.
So at that, were you doing battery stuff at that point, or were you
No,
guys provisional?
we were supposed to, but we had the firing battery. So half of the battery, we had 3 guns instead of 6. So 3 guns would be in a firing base. The other 3 sections would be patrols.
Oh, okay.
So
And
now
now, and all the
we
Marines that
lost
you lost, was they doing the patrols?
yeah, Staff Sergeant Bell had laid down on top of an IED directly on top of it. Yeah,
Whoa.
shitty luck. And the one thing that really gets me was I had jacked up my knee,
Yeah.
and they needed somebody for golf battery. And I was going because I was going to golf battery.
Yeah.
Someone to fill in for golf battery. You're going to go back to Echo. They're going to be in a firing base, and we're going to have someone fill your spot in golf. Bell filled in my spot.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, man, he took my IED.
Wow.
That's what that one. That's why I say it's the saddest time. Was that was me instead of him?
Yeah. I'm sure that was a tough pill to swallow for that, and
It
coping with it.
took a decade, probably over more, to finally get over it.
Yeah.
I don't think I still am. I'm still, kind of like my second guessing got somebody killed, and that's what we say about the Marine Corps. The minute you second guess yourself, or the minute you do something, it's not you that gets affected; it's the people around you. So I'm like prime example that stuff like that it happens.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't intentional. It wasn't like me I wasn't derelicting my duty or anything like that. It just shit happens. The dice were rolled. He rolled the craps, and I rolled the 7.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and you said it took over a decade, to get over that. I mean, I'm assuming, and I don't want to jump too much into this if you don't want to, but I'm assuming you some sort of therapy or something of that nature, PTSD and all that type of stuff. At least they always recommend therapy. So
yeah, my first mistake was being in Quantico. When they said go to the drill field, I was getting treated for my PTSD there. I was seeing the psych. That was the whole point of going there, was to decompress and get taken care of mentally.
Yeah.
They said I couldn't be a drill instructor and having PTSD. They said those 2 don't go together. So what did I do? I'm good. I faked the funk, and that didn't help. I faked the funk for a little bit. I made it through the drill field, and then went to deployment, and it came right back all over again. And I saw a doctor for about the same guy who was in with Dr. M.G. Hogue, and I was medicated. They got me on this stuff called Zoloft, something like that, and it works. I hear a lot of bad things about it, but you know what? It works for me. I'm a person now, and getting that help. But right when I was about to start getting over it, and I was good with it, my twin brother went off and found himself a new home on our 35th birthday at the
Yeah.
cemetery. So my twin brother died in a motorcycle accident right when I was getting that. So I was off. I mean,
Yeah.
I was there, but I wasn't there. It took my marriage, took a heavy toll on the
Yeah.
family. And so 20 years down the drain, being married. So yeah, I definitely needed some help, and it needed a lot, man. I'm glad the VA was there for me too for that. But yeah,
Good. That's good to hear. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. And that, VA gets a bad rap, I think, a lot of times. I think there are some incredible individuals that work at the VA, and there are some that are not so incredible. And I think it's sometimes, it's where you go and who you see a
yeah,
lot of times, and it's just like the military. I mean, there's great guys and there's guys that aren't so great, that are great at their job, that are not great at their job. So it's the same type of thing. But I think overall, the majority of the VA stuff is pretty good, at least from what I've seen.
they're there.
Yeah,
They're there to take
yeah,
care of you, but I mean, they're overwhelmed. I
yeah,
mean, if the war's over, so they're gonna get everybody that was being like me, who was sucking it up for all those
yeah,
years,
yeah.
and that was one of the bad things. When I was getting out and going through the whole process, I made a trip to the Wounded Warrior Battalion.
Hmm.
That place was filled with staff NCOs. And
Yeah,
I'm, man, that's something's got to be done about that because they're sucking it up for the Marines below them, but at the same time, what are they doing to themselves?
yeah. Yeah. And I always thought back to when I came back from my deployment, and there was no talk of going to get therapy and talking about the stuff. And
There's
it didn't
weakness.
happen. Yeah, it didn't happen. I think nowadays it's a lot better than it was. But still, I think that's a mentality that the Marine Corps has had for a long time, that now you suck it up.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think it's getting better.
Yeah, it
Let's
takes
hope it
people like
continues
us
that way.
to get that word out because a lot
Yeah.
of guys don't even know. I have guys that I went on deployment with back in 2001
Yeah.
that haven't even gone to do anything at the VA yet.
Really?
Nothing.
Wow.
And now they're at 100%
Good
because
for them, man.
and I got them
Yeah.
100% under disability, but they're like, oh, I just went out there and I did a job and I'm home.
Yeah.
That was it, and that was the end of their
Wow.
story. Had no idea
Hmm.
they can be taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Getting the word out there is the most important thing. So I'm glad you're able to come on here and talk about your experiences, those things that you kind of went through and everything. And I know it's not easy necessarily to talk about those things, but I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah,
You know, so well, we're getting close. It's about time to kind of wrap it up. But what would you have to say to anybody, the veterans that are out there, active duty military or whatever, anybody, any words of wisdom, anything like that you want to impart on everyone before we wrap it up here?
when I lost my twin brother, I lost myself. Um, I talked to a priest. He's not very much. He's not a very good on words. So this is the story that he told me. If I'm in my office and I lock the door because I have to go take a shit, I'm gonna go take a shit. Okay. My priorities right now are to take a shit. Someone comes to my door and they start knocking. I can't stop what I'm doing to go answer the door because I have priorities. Now they can sit there and be like, Father, I know you're there, Father, but hey, I'm taking a damn shit. Let me take a shit. I'm like, Father, that's some pretty gruesome words there, don't you think? He's like, I don't give a shit. Do you give a shit? I'm like, okay, so go back to your point, sir. He goes, you have priorities. Can't stop what you do. You can't stop your priorities to deal with bullcrap. So he goes, what are your priorities? My priorities were my daughters. And that's what kept me pushing forward every day. You have to find something that
Yeah.
prioritize your life around, and that's what's going to keep you alive. And then now that I'm a grandfather, my new priority is my granddaughter, Anna. So I live for Anna. I make sure that I'm healthy for Anna. If Anna wants to go run a mile, I'm going to run a mile with Anna. And that's what's going to keep me going. So my priorities and my focus is all on that one thing, my daughter or my granddaughter. So having a priority is going to help you, something to look forward to.
Wow. That's awesome. Very impactful. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely loved hearing your story. Very incredible story. And I think it'll be very impactful for everybody. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks,
Much,
dude.
much appreciated.
Awesome.
All right,
Semper Fi.
to all the listeners out there, don't forget the VA does have some great stuff out there. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can either text 939-288, or you can even go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those options are going to get you the help that you need. Remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know James cares about you, and all the veterans out there care about you. So please take care of yourself. All right, James, one last time, thanks for coming on. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.
Bruh.